A ballpoint pen confused for a knife. That was the crux of a police investigation involving the death of 20-year-old Tommy Lay, who you see behind me. King County Sheriff's deputies shot and killed Lay last year, shooting him in the back twice. That is after he pulled out a ballpoint pen. Today, an internal investigation found that deputies were justified in their use of force. This happened last year on June 13th in Burien. Witnesses reported that Lay was threatening people with a knife and acting erratically. According to the use of force report, Deputy Cesar Molina and Master Police Officer Tanner Owens used verbal de-escalation techniques and then deployed a less lethal option using their tasers. The report says Molina and Owens acted within policy when they drew their service weapons and Molina fired. The board concluded Molina feared Lay would harm him, Owens, or the people who were nearby in a yard with the object he was holding, later discovered to be a pen. The report goes on to say a pen can be used as an improvised weapon, and tonight a representative for the Lay family is reacting to the report.
A very competent reporter called me earlier and asked me what I thought about the ruling. There's been no ruling. A ruling is done by a neutral court. This is not a neutral court. This is an internal inquiry. And it was done with the same bias that the initial investigations were done.
Lay's family sued for $10 million, alleging that he was facing a mental health crisis and that he needed help. Before deputies arrived, Lay had reportedly been referring to himself as the creator and saying, "I am the killer," and a neighbor had fired a warning shot from his handgun into the ground after Lay allegedly tried to attack him with a knife. Two witnesses reported that Lay brandished a butterfly knife before deputies arrived. According to a photo that was released with the report, a butterfly knife was found in a nearby home where Lay was renting a room.
There are numerous witnesses that saw Tommy Lee moments before he was shot as he walked down 3rd Avenue. He had nothing in his hand. Nothing. Not a knife, not an ink pen. And finally we get to the knives that the sheriff's office got in a search warrant and showed people and said, "Is this the knife?" Their own report shows you that Tommy Lee did not go back in the house after the first encounter with the neighbors.
Tommy had a trace amount of LSD in his system, but his lawyers say it wasn't enough to cause impairment. In addition to being shot twice in the back, he was also shot once in the hand.
Developing now within the last hour, representatives for the family of Tommy Lee have just finished speaking after last year's deadly police shooting was ruled justified. Deputies with the King County Sheriff's Office shot and killed Lee because they thought he had a knife. In fact, it was a pen. KOMO's Joel Marino is live with more. Joel?
Yeah, Mary, not surprising, a stunning rebuke to the Use of Force Review Board's findings by the family of Tommy Lee. They say the process was biased from the start, and they are disillusioned but not surprised by the outcome. We'll show you some of the video from when this all occurred. This case involves Tommy Lee, a teenager who many witnesses say was in crisis one night in Burien. Now, neighbors reported that he might be armed with a knife and was acting angrily, so they called 911. Well, deputies arrived, and they say that they tried to talk Tommy Lee down, and at one point they even used their tasers, but it didn't work. They say Tommy Lee then charged them, so they opened fire. But an attorney for Lee's family says Tommy was shot 3 times in the back, and that is in the coroner's report. And it proves that the bullet trajectories and the official version of events is inaccurate. Let's hear from that attorney now.
If you line him up, he's not running towards anybody, he's running away. So yes, the physical evidence is inconsistent with the deputy sheriff's statements of what happened.
Yeah, the family says that they only learned of these findings being released after the media was informed this afternoon. They say that they were never consulted ahead of time in this process to release these findings, and that they've run out of appeals through the channels offered by the county, but they are pursuing civil litigation against the King County Sheriff's Office, saying that Tommy Lee's civil rights were violated. That process returns to court in a number of months. That's the latest here in downtown Seattle. Mary, back to you.
Joel, thank you.